That was fun. Sorry everybody about that. I'm not really sure what happened, but I know I scheduled that meeting from my home computer and using Outlook, and I noticed it was a little weird when the invite went out, but I kind of just ran with it. And now I wish I'd have done a better job of checking it because it locked me out of presenter mode, even though it listed me as the meeting organizer. So wow, haven't seen that happen before. I'm going to keep my eyes on the other call, is just in case people are still joining over there. So I might be a little slower. This is going to be a very weird cloudy county. I'm currently in South Florida. I'm driving around the incoming hurricane, doing server installations at several of our extension offices and our research centers. So this is my last road trip here at the University of Florida, and wanted to try to get a few things done before I transition over to a new job, which I'll talk about that at the end of this. But yeah, so thanks everybody for making the pivot and joining me over here in this instant meeting. And we're going to be talking about Planner today in Cloudy County. If you're new to Cloudy County and you just showed up because you heard there was some nerdy stuff, and we're happy that you've joined us. Normally, I would have a coworker with me. His name is Joe. Joe Gasper is another systems administrator at the University of Florida, but he is currently flying to Boston and for a little quick trip with his family. So I'm going to be solo today while we talk about Microsoft Planner. But Cloudy County is a community specifically geared towards IT extension and knowledge that we share with cooperative extension agents. And so it's kind of funny that we are, as IT nerds, we are trying to model how we teach after what you do. We're trying to extend the information that we find and learn and gather and new best practices and send them your way. So this is geared. This community is for anybody who is in cooperative extension or supports cooperative extension, and we're happy that you're joining us. So the topic today is Microsoft Planner. Microsoft Planner is a part of the Office 365 suite, or now known as the Microsoft 365 suite. It is on by default and it's available with all plans. So I don't think that there will be anybody here that doesn't have access to it. But if you want to check inside of your university, head over to office.com, and from the little waffle launcher up at the top left, check and see if you have Microsoft Planner there. And Microsoft Planner is we're going to call it project management, but if we have any like a legit, like official project managers on the call, they may argue that it's not. So I usually describe it as project management light. It does a lot of things really well out of the box, and there's some more advanced things that it does not do because it's not really made for that. What do I mean by that? In like a full-fledged, like planning tool like Microsoft Project, which is a paid tool, you might be able to say, I'm going to create an item, a work item, and I'm going to estimate that item might take 5 hours to complete, and that item is dependent upon this other item being done first. Well, Microsoft Planner doesn't do advanced things like that. But as you see this tool, as we explore this tool, I think you're going to see some really good applications for how you could use it even just by yourself, like just to manage your own things, or really bring the full power planner out by bringing it into a team and doing a project with your entire team. So maybe it's an event that you're planning. Maybe it is just standard operating procedures that your office has to do over and over and over again. Or maybe it's an ongoing long-term project. Like I'm going to show an example of a plan that we're using for our server installations that we're doing, and we've had that plan active for 2+ years, I think. And it's just how we keep our minds right, how we keep ourselves from losing it, with all the different places that we have to go to for our tasks that we're trying to do. So the first thing that I'm going to start with is I'm actually going to share a video. This video is not by Microsoft. It's just a YouTube video that explains a process of work known as Kanban. That's Kanban. And Kanban is kind of a style of work of how you manage tasks and how you move tasks through a workflow until the completion. And I think watching this video is really helpful in understanding why Planner is laid out the way it is. And so normally we don't show, videos. I like to give you content that we create. But the guy who did this video did such a good job of explaining it, and he did it in like 6 minutes, that I think that it's worth it's worth it. So I'm going to share that window. Let me make sure I include my sound. And we're going to bring this up. And if y'all could just let me know, I guess, in the chat and make sure that you can actually hear this. I'm going to click play. The audio is the most important thing. So if the video comes through choppy, don't worry about that too much. Just listen to what he has to say about Kanban.
Kanban is a work management system designed to help you visualize your work, limit work in progress, and maximize efficiency, which we call flow. Kanban is the Japanese word for visual signal. With so many of us working in services and technology, oftentimes our work is invisible or intangible. Kanban helps you visualize your work so you can understand it better, show it to others, and keep everyone on the same page. Most teams realize this benefit by building a Kanban board, filling it with Kanban cards, and setting up a work in progress limit. I'm Max. I'm a product marketing manager on Jira Software, and I'm naturally kind of a chaotic person. I seem to always find myself in fast-paced environments. I've been on really dysfunctional teams, and in the past been in dysfunctional organizations. The number of times that I've seen Kanban kind of bring method to the madness to change the culture of the organization and just help me get work done has me basically shouting from the rooftops about Kanban. So I actually have a lot to say, and I've broken this conversation up into a series of videos all here on our YouTube channel. So the first thing that I would ask is that you subscribe to the channel so you can hear this whole conversation play out. I want to show you something. One of my favorite things about Kanban is that Kanban starts with what you do now. This is actually one of the Kanban principles. Another being that Kanban respects current roles and responsibilities exactly the way that they are today. You simply apply the Kanban methodology to how you currently work. Another Kanban principle is that Kanban encourages acts of leadership from all levels. It's on the team to work together to make Kanban work for you. Now, if those principles are something you can get excited about, then you might want to start by making a Kanban board. So this is what I wanted to show you. It's a Kanban board that I built to visualize all the concepts we're covering in this video series. I just finished talking about the Kanban principles, and it's important that I started on the right side of the board here. Kanban is a pull system, which means when you have bandwidth, you look to the left and pull cards from left to right. Since I have bandwidth now, I'm ready to start my discussion of Kanban boards. Kanban boards like this one can be built on walls, windows, whiteboards, or with a suite of digital tools like Trello and Jira. Their purpose is to categorize all the stages of work that a work item flows through from something you haven't started to something that's done. This is called a workflow. You'll notice that each stage in the workflow has its own column, and our workflow is super simple. Your workflow might be more complex, but I'd encourage you to start as simple as possible. You can always add more columns later. So for now, I'm done with this quick explanation of Kanban boards. I'm going to take this card from something I'm doing into something that's done. Since I have bandwidth again, I'm ready to move a card from today into doing. Let's kick off our discussion of Kanban cards. For the agile software developers among us, cards should be a familiar concept. You can think of them as one Kanban card per user story. For the rest of us, we can just back up. You can think of Kanban cards as being work items. One card per work item. You want to make cards for all the things you're working on and place them in the appropriate stage of the workflow. Kanban cards should have a title and a description and an owner. You can also add any other helpful information like a due date. Then your card should start to gain a little bit of a history as your team leaves updates on the card as it moves from one stage of the workflow to the other. The Kanban card should be small enough that your team can make progress on them in a reasonable amount of time. You don't want them so large that it'll take you weeks to move the card forward, and you don't want them so small that it's literally every task that you're working on. Can you imagine how chaotic your board would be if it was every task your team was working on? You want to avoid that. Once you build a board and you fill it with cards, you'll start to realize one of the key benefits of Kanban. You'll see columns that start to bunch up, revealing a bottleneck in your workflow. You'll also get a sense of what size cards your team can move forward in a timely manner. These efficiencies we like to call flow, and Kanban is built to help teams flow work better from the backlog to done. Once you understand flow, you can start to measure it. Kanban teams concern themselves with lead time, which is the time that it takes for a card to flow through your workflow from when you start working on it to when you're done. It's in the hands of the customer. And with that, I feel done with my conversations about lead time. And thanks to this board that I built, I actually know that I'm done. I have visual assurance that I've done all the things that I set out to do in this video. It's a good feeling.
Okay, so that video, I've used that video for a couple of years actually. Every time we do a planner training, we like to bring that video up because that idea, that mental mindset that you get into about managing tasks and how you visualize them to move them from one side of that board to the other is really important. Kanban, like the gentleman said, you could put it on a window, you could put it on a whiteboard, and of course, there's a suite of digital tools out there that let you take that concept and digitize it and make it easy to keep track of. And yeah, I don't know, maybe they would get upset that we're going to talk about Planner, but hey, if they want to join the community and talk to us about it, that'd be fun. So I'm going to get started. Let me again share another window. And sorry again, because I'm on my laptop, not my nice home system. But we're going to share this browser window. We're going to talk about how to get to Planner. So from the waffle up here on the top left, you should see Planner. If you don't see Planner listed there, you're going to want to hit all apps, and that's going to expand out all the apps that are available to you inside of the Microsoft 365 suite, and you'll be able to click on Planner from there. Now, it's important to understand that Planner is actually its own completely separate product that can function without Microsoft Teams being a part of the equation at all. This is a little different because most people think that Planner is a part of Teams. And in our experience, a lot of the people that we've seen actually start using Planner are only using it because when they created a new tab inside of one of their channels, they saw this cool thing that talked about task management and they ran with it. And they never really understand that Planner is its own standalone product and you can access it through office.com. I want to tell you that from the get-go because there are certain things that you can do in office.com and the experience that you get with Planner there that's a little bit different than the experience that you get with Planner inside of Microsoft Teams. Planner inside of Teams is really designed to keep you contained inside of that team, and there's certain tasks that you can't do there. So understanding that you have office.com and the full-blown experience of Planner is really important. There's also a mobile app. If you have iOS, Android, you can put that on your mobile phone, which I've been using quite a bit this week on the trip that we're on, because the tasks that we're completing as we do our little road trip, I have information in those cards about those tasks that I want to get done, and maybe an address or a phone number or a checklist or something like that. So I'm going to start by creating a new plan. When you create a plan, that plan is going to create what's called an Office or a Microsoft 365 group. So we're going to go Cloudy County Demo. And that plan, just like a group in Microsoft 365, can be public or private. I don't foresee any reason why you'd want to have a public plan. I've never seen a use case for that. Maybe there is, I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and continue with private. So here's our board. It looks really plain, right? Because we don't have anything on the board yet. But what we've got, and let me change my pen here, is we've got these buckets. So if I draw these lines right here, this is starting to kind of look like a Kanban board from the gentleman's video. And if we were started drawing lines like this, and we've got this grid, well, now you can start to visualize and see where those cards are going to go. And cards are the items. Cards are the things that you need to get done. So I'm gonna mimic that Kanban board. So we've got to do, and I'm going to add a new bucket, and I'm going to call that doing. Then I'm going to add a new bucket, and I'm going to call it on hold, because sometimes things you can't actually complete it because there's no way you can get it done. You're waiting on somebody else. And then I'm going to create another bucket, and I'm going to call it done. So we're scrolling now from left to right across our buckets. I'm going to create a task. So on each of these buckets, you have an add task. I'm going to click add task and give that task a name. So we're going to just call it like upgrade, since I'm upgrading servers right now, and that's what's on my mind. We'll keep going with that. Add task. So now underneath it, we've got this little card. I know it doesn't look like a card yet, but as you click on it and dive into it, now you get more of that card view of this task. So my advice about cards in Planner is the more information that you put into this card, the more information you can extract from it later when you start to do things, more advanced things in Planner, such as filtering and reports and things like that. So this card tells us that we're currently operating in the to-do bucket. This this action, this item hasn't been started yet. We can assign it a priority. We can assign it a start date. So I'm going to say that this task needs to be done today, like that. And this is new. Repeating tasks is brand new, actually. I think within the last month is when repeating tasks, that feature was launched. But this was a very big ask because lots of business processes are something that you need to do once a week. And people were tired of having to go in and recreate the same exact card every single week. So if you have a repeating item, something you always have to do in a certain cadence, you can set that cadence here and have that task repeat on a weekly, monthly, or custom. All right. Going down, we have some notes. So we're going to create some notes. This is where I like to put in details. Maybe you could put in your address here of 1234 Northeast 56th Street. We could put in the phone number. So I'll just make up a number. This is not a real number, so please don't call it. We could put in here, remember the front door is always locked. And below that, we have a checklist. Me and my coworker use this checklist extensively. This is a wonderful thing. I think the checklist has a maximum number of 20 items that you can add per card. So this is kind of like a little task inside of a task, right? Like the overall task that we want to get done is we want to upgrade the server. But in order for me to say that that has been done, there's 5 or 6 things that we need to do. So like, disconnect old server, install new server, set up printers, these types of things that you can add to it. Attachments, how do we talk about attachments here? You could do 2 different things. You can link to a file that's in Teams, or you can upload a file and it will upload it directly into this group. I really like the fact that when maybe your task revolves around a particular document. Maybe there's a document that you need to assign this document to someone on your team and they are responsible for seeing that document through to completion. You could create a task in Planner. You could assign it. So if I go up here and click assign, I don't have anybody else in my team right now or my group that I can assign this to. But you could assign this to someone. I don't think I can grab Joe. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and grab Joe, and I'm going to add him to my plan. So I've assigned this upgrade servers task to Joe, and you could copy or you could add a link to that document directly into the planner card. This is really great because this complies with that concept that we covered early on in this community about one file, one place. We've all been in the habit of email attachments and things like that that are creating multiple duplications of a particular document, and then the poor person who's working on that document is trying to reconcile them together and bring them all into one current document that includes all the changes that everyone submitted. So using Teams, using SharePoint, and leaving that document in one singular place, but referencing it in different ways, whether it be a link instead of a file attachment and email, or here in Planner, referencing it as a link to it there, or just browsing Teams and locating the file there. And comments, there's a comment section built into each card. These comments are kind of like the history of the card. Maybe we weren't able to get into the building, so we could say we attempted an install, but front door was locked and nobody available to open it. You could do something like that here, and I'll send that. Now, anybody who comes behind me and looks at this card is going to see that history. So this is like a little journal that gets generated that's assigned to this card. Now, by me commenting on this, and actually by me being the creator of it, I am now subscribed to the activity of this card. So if my coworker Joe were to come behind me and leave in a comment and say, the facilities manager said that he could meet you there on Tuesday, he could put that comment here, and I would get a notification that he added a new comment to this card, and it becomes like a little communication system of sorts. So now that I've got all these things on here, I'm gonna take off this box, and we're gonna close out of this card. And you're gonna see that this card starts to look a little bit different. Now we've got upgrade servers, and we stick to that Kanban style again. So hopefully my lines come through this time. So we've got this line here for this bucket, and anything that's in this bucket is my to do. I guess the lines don't work because I'm not sharing my whole screen. That's probably why. Sorry, Ron, I saw your comment in the chat there. Let's see. Well, we'll just run with it. Pretend, if you can see my mouse, that there's lines right here. And the gentleman that was talking about Kanban and the visualization that takes place here is I can look at this plan and I can see that there's a project to upgrade a server, but it's just kind of like in staging, like we're not actually doing anything with it yet. But if I want to signal to my team, or I want to signal to everyone else to say that I've got something on my plate and I'm actually going to be doing it. The gentleman referred to that as bandwidth. I have available bandwidth time in my day, time in my week where this is something I'm going to be doing. I can grab this card, click and hold it and drag it, move it over into doing. So again, my manager could come look at this plan and see where we're at as far as this goes, with this overall project. And maybe there's something wrong, like that door lock problem. I could temporarily drop this card into on hold. And once it's in on hold, he would know why. He could look at the comments and see it. And then when we're done, I can drag it over to done. And if you check this box right here, boop, you get a happy little animation, and it shows that that task is now complete. Now this task doesn't, this board doesn't look very exciting, right? Because I just literally just made it and it only had one card on it. So I'm going to flip over to another browser window and show you, I'm going to show you a plan that does have a lot of data in it. So let's see here. All right. Hopefully this is coming along or coming through okay. Let me take a peek at the chat. Yeah. Okay. So this is a very big plan. This plan is linked to a Microsoft team of me and our other systems administrators, then doing our nerd things. And this plan has quite a few buckets. So we're not following Kanban to the letter, but we are following it as far as like how we move our tasks as we go through our timeline here. So we have a bucket of miscellaneous tasks. These are things that we've found as we go through this project that we just need to go ahead and get them done, but they don't necessarily they're not necessarily tied to a particular project or a particular site where we're doing a server installation. As we move over to the right, we've got a column here that is, so in our world, an RODC is a particular kind of server. So we are dropping cards in here that list all of the things or all of the various sites where we need to do some work for one of these types of servers. Here we have our to-do. So these are sites that we need to visit. We need to head over to these sites and get this upgrade done. And one of the things that my coworker Philip did that's really good is he created a template card. So this template card has all the stuff filled out inside of it. It has our checklist. I mean, this is pretty comprehensive checklist. It's got all of that stuff filled out inside of it. And what we can do is we can just click copy task. And then I can type in the actual name of the server that we're going to be working on. And I get all these options of what kind of data do I want to carry over from the original card that I'm copying from. So if there was an assignment or a due date or something like that, we could carry that over, and I'll click copy. And so now I should have a new card right here that in my pristine card has been left intact. So I'll rearrange those a little bit. Template cards are a really great idea. You could see I think we had, yeah, that's the only two we have, but I've seen this used a lot in a lot of business offices. This was a solution that they used to use prior to recurring tasks, that every single week they had to, I don't know, submit payroll, and there was a task for that. They would copy that task over and over and over again. Recurring tasks is really going to make that a lot easier on everybody, because that was a hot mess. That was actually one of the biggest requested features in Planner for the last, I don't know, like 2 years. It's a long time. Let me delete this task. We're using labels. Labels are wonderful. When you click on a task, you're going to see a label here. You can assign, I think it's 25 different labels that you can pick from now. They start off as a color, but you can go into it and you can pencil in a custom name for that label. And this is, again, the more information that you feed this card, the more information you're going to be able to extract from the plan as a whole. And that will start to make more sense as we go through the filtering process. You can see here we've got a lot of buckets, and we try to move everything that we can into a completed bucket, although that doesn't always happen. Oops, it doesn't always happen, but we do try to make sure everything stays in the bucket that it's supposed to be in, and that will make a little bit more sense as we start to view things by like chart. Up here at the top, you have different ways that you can arrange this board. So the default view is it's grouped by bucket. We can change that, however, and we can say it's grouped by who the task is assigned to. So I apparently have no tasks in this, but Philip here, he's got a lot of tasks assigned to him. And regardless of what bucket those tasks are in, now I'm viewing them all as show me everything that's assigned to each one of my team members. And let's say there were 10 people in this team. This might be a useful view to look at and see and understand the workload that a particular person has on their plate right now, based on the task that they have either been assigned or the task that they have taken on and assigned to themselves. You can group by label. So remember those labels that I was saying are so useful. Now I can see that we've got some work to do in the Southwest District and in the Central District, or I'm sorry, Well, looks like we got the same label there twice. So I assume this is south. Where are we, Philip? We're in southwest. Yeah, so this should be southeast. We've got several PowerEdge servers that need to be deployed, and I can see that really quickly here because this bucket scrolls up and down pretty high. So grouping by label is incredibly useful. Up here along the top, we've got charts. If I flick over here into charts, we've got some graphs and stuff like that. These are pre-canned reports. You cannot manipulate these and create a beautiful Power BI report out of this. One of the things with Planner that you need to remember is you kind of get what you get. Like it's an out of the box solution that can do a lot of things, but those are the only things it can do. So hopefully that makes sense. But as I change my view up here, my chart's going to change. So I can see the load per bucket really quickly with a visual deployment. And I'm seeing if something is late. Now, how do you know if something's late? Remember what I said, the more data that you feed a card, the more information you can extract in your filtering and your reporting. If you don't assign a start date or a due date, then Planner has no way to know if that item is late, right? So using the chart view isn't going to really be super useful because you can't see late items because you haven't determined what the due date is. Let's go and do some more filtering here. So we can filter by label. Chart. Group by bucket. So we're still getting sorry, I'm getting confused here. Let's go over to schedule. I'll keep moving forward. This is a schedule, not a calendar. That is very important distinction to make when it comes to what you get from this particular view of this board. A calendar is something that you can add items to it and you can schedule them or put them on someone else's calendar. A schedule is, this is a sequence, or this is a time-based view of things that need to get done. You can add this technically to your Outlook calendar. So if you click on the three dots, you can add this plan to your Outlook calendar, which is useful for receiving notifications for when particular tasks are coming up that are due. But you can't schedule things on it through Outlook like you would on a regular calendar. I used to use this, but I kind of moved away from it because I like the integration that you get between Planner and Microsoft Teams. If something is coming up that's due, the Planner bot inside of Microsoft Teams is going to let me know. It's going to send me a message. I'm going to get email reminders that I've got an upcoming task that is due. You're going to get a lot of notifications from it. So I don't think I personally didn't feel like I needed to have this added to my Outlook calendar myself. I did try it for a while though. And while we're in this menu, we'll talk about some of the other things that you can do here. You can export this plan to an Excel file. So I could see this being very useful for some more advanced reporting, or maybe you did have a system for using something like Power BI to do some more advanced data visualizations of the data that's inside of that plan. You can go into the settings of the plan and change the background. So like you saw that we had a custom little background on it there that was pretty nice. And you'll also be able to do some group management through this menu as well. You can copy a plan. It's not new, but it didn't used to work as well as it does now. You can copy a plan from one team or one Microsoft 365 group to another. That's really useful because we've seen people who like to create a plan for the year. They have, this is our 2022 plan, right? And they have all their buckets created the way that they want. They've got lots of template tasks that they've created and put into those buckets that have pre-configured checklists and all the labels. That's a lot of work going through all of those labels. There's 25 of them in here. And so going through these and renaming these and selecting the correct colors and stuff like that. So once you get all that work done, and you want to keep that plan in a pristine, clean condition, you can then make a copy of it. So go copy plan. You can copy that plan to the same group where the current plan exists, or you could copy that plan to a completely different group and add it over there. So how would that look in the real world? That would be copying a plan from one team to another team is an option. But again, the biggest use case that we've seen for it here is once you get your plan created and you want to maintain, I guess, what you call like the integrity of that plan, the way it's configured and set up is using the copy as a way of making a template, just like we did right here with these cards in this this particular task. So let me take a peek at the meeting chat real quick and see what I'm missing. Yeah, I've seen some comments about trying to create plans. Some shared channel chat. Let's see. Okay, looks like some of it got worked out. Yeah, if you've got any questions, sorry, I'm operating on one screen here, so I'm having to use my phone to keep an eye on the meeting chat. If you joined us last month, we did our call was all about the Teams mobile app, and that was one of the things that we said can be a useful trick. Run your Teams on your phone just so that you can keep an eye on the chat without having to cycle through a bunch of different windows on your computer. Okay, so I'm going to move over to Microsoft Teams view of Planner and some of the unique things that it offers. So let me get that set up real quick. So I see a question about why do you create the to-do and staging and done for your buckets instead of using the built-in progress buckets that auto track? That's a good question. I feel like it's about the visualization. I like to be able to look at the board and kind of see where things are at without having to change the view of it. So you can do group by progress, and that will give you that view that you're talking about. If you're using, again, the more information you put into a card, the more you get out of it. If there's anything you take away from this, I said that 5 or 6 times already, but that is true that you could use that group by progress view of the board and see it like that. But I do like to be able to see some of the custom things that we've created in that plan where maybe I have some miscellaneous tasks that bucket is useful to me to see, or I've got some server specific buckets that we showed earlier. I kind of like, I don't know, it's personal preference really, but I like the visualization that I get from viewing my board this way. So let me go into Teams and I'll get my screen shared here for you in just a second. Okay, so here we are in my test team. Some of the comments that I saw were that group creation might be disabled at your university, which means that team creation is probably also disabled at your university, or maybe you have a different workflow that you go through on how to create a team. But every time you create a team, that team gets a Microsoft 365 group with it. And that Microsoft 365 group is where Planner is going to be housed. So if you can get a team, you're getting a group. They come together. So here we are in my test team. I've got several channels here. I'm going to go ahead and add the a new tab here at the top. Oops. Okay, maybe I'm not going to. There we go. So when you add that new tab, you do not see Planner, right? It's not very obvious. Well, hey, I want Planner. That's what Dwayne told me I'm going to use to do this. Well, it's actually called Tasks by Planner and To Do, because when you use the Microsoft Teams interface for this, you're actually going to be able to consolidate Microsoft To Do, which is a personal task list tracker, and Microsoft Planner into one view. So you'll see that as we go through this. So this is going to be another Cloudy County demo. You can bring in, if you already had a plan connected to this group that's behind this team, you could just tab it in without having to create a brand new one from scratch. And I'll turn off the channel announcement as well. So you're going to get the same view. You're going to get the same buckets, the ability to create, the ability to filter. Let me make this tab bigger, so we'll expand it. But notice I'm missing those 3 dots along the top that gave me the options to do things like add it to my Outlook calendar, to copy the plan itself. Like I can't duplicate the plan from this team's specific view. I would have to flip over to the browser and hit office.com and do it from there. So that's a little bit different. But other than that, it's basically the same exact experience. You're going to add cards. So demo card, you can go into that card and you can fill out all the same information and data points that we had before. Now, when you assign this, it's going to let you assign it by default. Remember, every team has a Microsoft 365 group attached to it. So every person who is in your team is eligible to be assigned a task inside of Microsoft Planner. That's an important thing to remember, is you can't assign a task to a person who's not inside the group. That group really defines the scope of who you are allowed to work with on this plan. So that could throw you off a little bit. And yeah, everybody wants Jean-Luc on their team. So we're going to go ahead and assign him the task. And this task, let's explore new worlds. So what's going to happen when I assign this task to Jean-Luc is he's going to get a notification from the planner bot. Let me see if I can assign it to myself, if that will work. Try it. I'm not sure if that will work because I sent it to myself, but ordinarily what you'd get is you'd get an activity feed up here where the planner bot is going to let you know that someone has assigned a task to you. I'm not going to be able to see that, unfortunately. But it's very, very in your face. It's very, it's not overwhelming notifications, because again, you can kind of tweak that a little bit in your team's notification preferences. But you're going to get pinged by the bot basically, and that bot is going to let you know what you've got going on. Another Microsoft Teams specific view of Planner that I think is really helpful to know as well is over here on the app bar or the left rail. If you go down to the 3 dots, you can find the Planner app. So I already have it pinned, but let me unpin it so that I can go through that process so everybody can follow along with me. So if you click these 3 dots, and if you don't see task by Planner there, you can just type in Planner and it will find it. And when you click it, it's going to temporarily open it on your bar over here. Now, what do I mean by temporarily? Well, if I go back over here to Teams, you can see it disappeared. So it's no longer on my bar. But if I go back in and I hunt for it again, and while it's on my bar temporarily, if I right mouse click on it, I can say pin. And that's going to keep the tasks app pinned to that bar. So if I flip back and forth between different sections, it stays there. I can drag it up and move it up the list if I want to. Now this tasks app in Teams it's really, really cool because it shows you tasks that you have assigned to you across all the teams that you are a member of. So this is a unique view to you only. And you see here, it's called assigned to me. This is really nice because you get your own board, you get your own personal board that is all about, let's see, I don't have enough tasks in here, but I could share possibly my UF one. We'll just keep going with it. So you can create your own board that's specifically for tasks that are assigned to you across all the plans and all the teams that you're a member of. So this allows you to really kind of like keep track of I don't know, all all the stuff that you've got to do, right? This also has tasks in it that come from that other app I talked about called Microsoft To Do. Again, if you're in office.com and you look at all the apps that are available in the launcher, Microsoft To Do is a task list, kind of like Post-it notes, but digital, and you can keep it in your phone. You're going to get a combo view of what's in tasks as well as what's in Microsoft To Do. So that is a unique thing to the Teams app, the ability to bring those together. I'm not really sure why they don't let you do that in all the other ones. Who knows? See if I look at my plan. Another view that you're getting here that is unique to Microsoft Teams is you're getting what's called a list view. If we have any people out there who like something like Monday.com, where it has a large list or a table, you get that view inside of the Teams app only. Again, I'm not really sure why that's not available inside of the Office.com experience of Microsoft Planner. I kind of wish they would add it there as well, because I feel like that's a better experience. But if you wanted to be able to consume all the things across all the plans in a more of a list, you could do that here through the Tasks app inside of Teams. Let me take another peek at the chat and see what we've got going on. Is there a benefit to doing this from Teams versus from Office 365? That's a great question. It depends on the specific thing that you want to do. The thing I'll say about doing it here in Teams is this tab, this plan is very close to, like, let's imagine this team is my county extension office, and this channel is related to my program area, or maybe it's related to an event that we're doing, like the county fair. Doing this in Teams gives me all the other things that Teams offers, like the ability to post messages and have a working conversation with people who are inside of my team. And at the same time, with just one click, I can move into the plan to take a look at what we're just talking about. So it's putting my plan closer to where I'm working, and that's important. I feel like that reduces a little bit of fatigue. You're not having to switch back and forth between browser windows and app launchers and searching and stuff like that. It's very convenient to have that tabbed into my workspace that I'm probably already in anyway. Another thing about that experience with using Microsoft Planner inside of Teams is the proximity that you get to the files that you're working on. You know, I've got files stored here now that might be related to that plan. And that's how I could link to, like, let's say this test Word doc is something that I need to connect to a task inside of my plan. So if I go into this particular plan item here and I add attachment and I say from my Teams files, I can browse into the general channel. I can choose that test Word doc and hit save. And now that Word doc is going to be connected to that card. And that's another big advantage of using the Teams experience of Microsoft Planner is, again, the point of Teams, like the reason why Teams exists, is to take all of the things that are spread out across the whole Office 365 suite and pull them together and put them in one place. And that's why Microsoft calls Teams the hub for teamwork, is that it's that hub of all those various apps that are a part of that process, or part of that offering. Yes. Let me catch up here. If anybody has any questions, you want to come off mute, please feel free to raise your hand or do that. We can do some questions for the last couple of minutes here. Catch up with the chat too. Yeah, Philip's given some really good advice. Philip's actually sitting over there. I see him helping me with the chat. Thank you, Philip. Appreciate that. But Philip has been the one managing that server project plan that I showed that we're using today and have been using for the last couple of years, which I think is a really good testament to Planner. Is it's how we've been tracking where we're driving, where we're installing, what we have to do to get these servers upgraded. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so Andrew, I don't have a list yet, but I guess I can talk about that. So I will no longer be working at the University of Florida as of November. My last day in the office will be November 18th. So I will not be connected to an extension program any longer in the sense of being properly employed at a university, at a land grant school. However, I am very happy about the future. I accepted a position at Microsoft to work on Microsoft Teams in education. And so my new manager is wonderful, and she knows all about my drive and my passion for cooperative extension. And so I think this is a really cool opportunity. And I think I can say to everyone here, like, you have someone now on the inside at Microsoft who loves extension and wants to reach extension and do things in extension. And Microsoft has at least one person now who knows about extension. So hopefully there will be more in the future involvement between Microsoft and extension, but Microsoft has a great culture and this great concept around having a personal mission and having support from the corporation on achieving those goals that align with that mission. And so they knew very, very, very front and center prior to any kind of conversations that I love extension and I want that to keep going. And so there's been some cool meetings already about extension specific curriculum from Microsoft, which I think is really cool that that's even on their radar. Like, think about that. Like, that's really cool to see that they're already thinking about things that they could do that take in we know you're unique, right? We know extension is unique, and having some unique programming, I think, is pretty much going to be a requirement. So I'm very excited for that. So in a couple of weeks, in fact, the December Cloudy County Call, I will be doing that the same way we've always done it. I don't think anybody here will notice much of a difference, but I'll be working for a new business. So very excited for that. So yeah, Deanna, Cloudy County will continue. I have already made sure that's going to happen. So I'll continue to be running the Microsoft Teams community that we have inside of UF, along with Joe and then the other guys. And then Cloudy County will continue to happen. And I hope that we can really, like, this can be a really big boost in how we get I need more members. Please share this with your peers. But I really want it to be a funnel that I can use to take cooperative extension, like the struggles that you have with the apps that you've got access to and those types of things. And I can try to feed those somewhere internally to get things done. So please sell Teams. Yes, Dominic, we do. I'm already trying to figure something out there. Yeah, Microsoft should be a part of NETC for sure. That's something that I want to see happen. The economy allowing. So, but all right. Anybody want to talk about Planner with me? I mean, is anybody using Planner? Has anybody tried adding it as a tab in a team and got into it and realized, like, oh, this isn't what I thought? I mean, or has anybody been using it successfully? I would love to hear a success story. So Jessica says she uses it. So that's awesome. Katie's using it for Canvas course development. Okay, that's a really good use case. Like, I could see, like, as you're building a course or building a program, as it moves through various phases, like, do you use it like a Kanban board and have it move through different, like, parts of the life cycle of creating a course?
Yeah, I have all the different tasks for like each module, and then, that's under the, just like the course development for the bucket. And then other buckets are, other aspects of, stakeholder engagement, participant engagement, those kind of different things. So.
Awesome. Awesome. Do you, have you played with labels? Like, do you leverage the labels?
I don't, but I like to assign tasks to people and they don't know how to use Planner. So it doesn't.
I wish I had another plan I could pull up that had more labels in it. Let me see if I can find a demo.
While you do that, I can just quick share. I've been using Trello for a long time. That's why I made the joke earlier about Atlassian being upset with you. And yeah, I've been using Trello for a really long time, and I've found that, and I love Kanban, but at the same time, I found that I actually really like just using the in progress, the progress, built-in progress, whatever, that you can choose in Planner, because I like to use it also as sort of like a binder where I put in, one bucket might be all of the the social media profiles that I promote my programming in, or one bucket might be all of the all of the software that I use and the links directly to the sign in page for the software that I use. And so I like to kind of create my buckets that way. And then I just have like a couple of to do buckets at the very beginning. And then I'll just use the in progress and finished as my, anyway, that was a longer explanation than I intended, but but yes, I've been using both Planner and Trello for a long time, and I enjoy them both very
Awesome.
much, but I can't get anyone else to use them with me.
Add them to a team and then assign them a task, and then they have no choice because it's going to keep bothering them.
Oh, that's great. I should put reminders. Anyway, yeah.
That's cool. So Stephanie's assigning stuff to herself already. That's good. Yeah, you could, I hope everyone here has the ability to have a test team or have a team that's just for you, just for yourself. And I like to play around with things in there, but at the same time, I get to leverage like Planner and stuff like that. And I can use a plan for myself just to keep my own personal tasks that maybe not, they don't need to be signed to anybody except me. But I like to be able to have my own private team that I'm the only one in, so I can use these kinds of tools to try to help keep myself on track, Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm going to kill off the recording, but I'll hang out on the call for a little bit and address a few of the questions. The last one I'll do is Ron is asking about To-Do versus Planner. To-Do is very easy to use. It is not as feature rich in the sense of like you're not going to get like labels, you're not going to attach files to it that well, you're not going to assign it to anybody else, but you can create a dedicated list for a particular project and you can add a bunch of items into that list. My wife uses it to assign me things at home. So we use it inside of our own little family group that we have. And it is good. And I like the mobile app experience, but Planner would certainly be better when it comes to bringing other people in and having better reporting and viewing and filtering. So I think they each have their own strong points, and that's one of the reasons why the team's view of Microsoft Planner is a little bit more unique and in some ways a little bit better, because you can actually get a consolidated view of things that are on your Microsoft to-do list, as well as things that are on all the plans across all the teams that you might be a member of. Because I don't know about y'all, but I was in a whole bunch of teams, and there were plans through several of those teams that were actively being used, and I was getting assigned stuff through those teams. So I like that view that you get there in the Teams app. But all right, well, I'm gonna turn the recording off, but I'm not gonna hang the call up. We'll keep going if anybody has any more burning questions. But thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Sorry that it was so messed up in the beginning. I don't know what I did or how I did it, but it was a little chaotic being on the road. Joe's gone. It's you know, it's a hot mess, but we did it. We got it done. We learned some things about Microsoft Planner, and hopefully y'all can start planning all the things. And I'll see everybody next month in December. And again, if you have more questions, just hang out on the call with me, and we'll keep the conversation going.